afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Cavletics, an inside look into the athletics department here at Bossier Parish Community College. I'm your host, Charlie Cavell, and well, it's our first episode of the spring semester, and normally we would jump right into sports that are going on at BPCC right now, like men's and women's basketball, softball, baseball, which begins its season tomorrow down in Baton Rouge. However, today we're technically going to step outside of athletics and into student life. Don't worry, we're not going too far and venture way out of our comfort zone. We're going to discuss cheerleading, more specifically the cheerleaders here at Bossier Parish Community College. So with that being said, let me introduce you to today's guest. We have to my far right, Rachel Randolph, who is the cheer and dance coach here at BPCC, and Shelby Caldwell, who is one of our BPCC cheerleaders. Welcome to the show, and thank y'all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us. Appreciate that. Before we get into discussing the national event that you just returned from, I'd be willing to bet that there's a lot of folks out there who have no idea that Bossier Parish Community College even had cheerleaders. You know, if you look right here, I have a brochure that shows, this was from 1992-93, that shows the cheerleaders and the ladies in gold, the dance line. But I bet you there's not a lot of folks that know BPCC has cheerleaders. I know we talked a little bit about whether or not how far it goes back, but at least 25 plus years at Bossier Parish Community College has had cheerleaders.
Correct, and a lot of the community is not aware that we have them.
And do you have any idea maybe, well, I mean, you cheered here yourself, didn't you?
I did.
Well, I mean, do you have any idea maybe how far back it goes, or just that's still a little unknown?
That's a little unknown. I know the 90s as far as I know.
Yeah, I know I had a brochure a little earlier than that one that showed the end of the 80s into the 90s. So, I mean, I think we could safely say probably 25 to 30 plus years at Bossier Parish Community College has had cheerleaders as well as the Ladies in Gold dance line. You know, let's kind of move ahead a little bit. If you would tell our viewers kind of the structure of BPCC cheer and what is the ideal size of a cheer group, and where are you as far as the structure goes?
The ideal structure would be about 20 on the cheer team, and that would be 12 females, 8 males, and a mascot on top of that. That would be ideal. Right now we have 7 females and 5 males on the team.
What are their qualifications? What does a person like Shelby, a student like Shelby, have to do in order to qualify to become a cheerleader?
It's a little harder for the females to make the team. They need some tumbling, they need prior experience, they need to be able to do certain stunts. But for the males, we're just looking for athletic males who have some kind of athletic background, and we can teach them what they need to know.
Is there a reason for that necessarily, that the females such as Shelby have to have a little more qualifications?
There's just such a big pool for young females to cheer in college, and with the males, they don't get interested until that age, and they think, oh yeah, let's try this, let's do this for a scholarship, and then they get hooked.
Well, you mentioned scholarships. Are there scholarships available for both male and female cheerleaders?
There is. We have a tuition scholarship at BPCC, and we actually have one of the best scholarships in the state, and that is one positive thing for our local cheerleaders that come and cheer for us.
Well, great. What does the cheer coach, you, demand from your cheerleaders as far as, you know, time, attendance, etc.?
We practice 3 days a week year-round, which is usually 2 to 3 hours at a time. And then with us going to competition, we'll have to add in some extra practices. And we're at every home game for the basketball team. And we practiced it during the summer at 6:30 in the morning. So,
Shelby, let me ask you the same type of question, but structured a little differently. How difficult is it for a student like yourself with the demands of school? I don't know if you work. Do you work outside of class? But also to the demands of the time for cheer.
It is difficult. I'm a full-time student, and I also have 2 jobs. So I have to make sure I make time for practice, studying, and work. It's a handful, but the scholarship is worth it, and the time with my team.
Do you have time for sleep in there anywhere?
Yeah, a little bit. Just a tad.
I mean, 2 jobs, cheer
Yes.
and school. Wow,
Yes.
that is really, really impressive. And Rachel, you also have a mascot. You mentioned a mascot, Captain Cavalier. Is the person in the mascot costume a cheerleader, or is it just somebody who wanted to be the mascot?
This year, actually, Captain Cav is double duty. He is a cheerleader, and he has previous mascot experience, and so he said, just let me get in the suit. And when we did, we can't tell you that. That's the big secret. You're not supposed to know who's behind the mask. But he has great talent, so I'm hoping he returns next year as Captain Cav. I won't make him cheer. This year I kind of pulled him in that direction because we're always needing guys.
Well, you got a big compliment, at least through me to you, from Coach Chris Lovell, our men's basketball coach, and his coaching staff. They really paid him a big compliment the other day, particularly during the homecoming ceremonies last weekend, and about just his activity on the court. You know, one of the skits he did is he pulled out the wet floor sign and was wiping up the floor during a timeout. So they got a big kick out of that, and they complimented him on that. So you said 12 total, 5 men, 7 women, or 7 ladies. You'd like that to be bigger? I mean, or is that an ideal spot for Bossier Parish Community College?
Well, we kind of had a budget cut a couple of years ago, and so we used to have 20 scholarships, and that was ideal. We had to reduce it, and so now we're at 12, including mascot. So I wish I had just a mascot separate so that it didn't take from the cheer team, but 12 is good. Would like it to be larger if possible, but you know, depends on your budget. I think it's more important for the kids to be able to get the good scholarship than to have the numbers.
Shelby, obviously, you know, you've cheered before. What brought you to BPCC and for you to cheer here? What made you come here to cheer?
The scholarship was really the big part. It is the best in the state for a girl cheerleader, and it's great for me to be home with my family and friends.
What is your, you know, what drew you to cheering overall, not just here, but what made you want to be a cheerleader?
Getting out and performing in front of everybody and just showing like the talent I have.
For you, same type of question, because you did cheer here. Is it along those lines as well? And then what made you decide to become the cheer coach?
Actually, my cheer experience, I was more about supporting the athletic teams and being on the sideline and cheering for the teams and being competitive that way. I've always really been into sports. So that was my drive in the beginning. And I also didn't know that BPCC had a cheer team until my senior year. And one of my cousins actually cheered here before me. And he was like, why don't you just come try out here? And so then I started doing some partner stunning and ended up coming here and loved it.
What made you decide to, you know, after your cheering days were over, what made you decide to become a coach?
Well, I actually coached gymnastics for 10 years, and I did some competitive coaching as well, and kind of just fell into my lap that when the lady before me decided she wasn't going to coach anymore, I was offered the position.
Well, wow, that's, I mean, you know, not only do you get to coach, but you get to come back to the school that you were cheered at, and you know, that's got to be special for you.
Definitely. I like being able to pour back into where I came from.
We're going to take a brief time out right now, but stay tuned because we'll be right back following the break with more BPCC Cheer. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
A promise was made. A promise that hit the beaches of Normandy. A covenant that split the skies over Berlin. A vow that captured Iwo Jima. A promise was made. A solemn oath that liberated Seoul. A sacred trust that defended Quezon. A pact that dug in Da Nang. A contract that weathered Tet. A promise was made. A pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq. A bond that patrolled door to door in Fallujah. An IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans, a promise we all must keep. DAV fights for all veterans and their families so they get the health care, financial benefits, and support they earned. If you're a veteran who needs help or you'd like to help us keep the promise, visit DAV.org.
In 1977, in Johannesburg, South Africa, an 8-year-old boy picked up the game of golf from his father. By the age of 9, he was already outplaying him. The odds of this gentle lad winning the Junior World Golf Championships at the age of 14, 1 in 16 million. The odds of that same boy then making it to the US and European Pro Golf Tours, 1 in 7 million. The odds of the Big Easy winning the Open Championship once and the US Open Championship twice, 1 in 780 million. The odds of this professional golfer having a child diagnosed with autism, 1 in 110. Ernie Els encourages you to learn the signs of autism at autismspeaks.org. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference.
Welcome back to Cavletics. I'm Charlie Cavell, and we're visiting with BPCC cheer coach Rachel Randolph and cheerleader Shelby Caldwell. And, well, Shelby, we're going to start off with you. Where are you from, and how long have you been cheering?
I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana. This is my 15th year to cheer. So I've been cheering since I was 5.
So what cheer group did you start out with? I know because that's a big deal, especially around this area. There's a lot of young cheer groups. And then where did you go to high school, and what brought you to BPCC?
I started out with Louisiana Rebels. I cheered there my whole time for 13 years. I did do JV cheer at Byrd, where I graduated from. And it was just great. Like, I loved every part of it.
You said earlier that you liked the performing in front of the crowd, but was it also being a part of a team, also opening up for friendships and that have lasted well now into your college years?
Yes, I've made many friends. I still keep in touch with them, even though they're like away at different schools. We still talk every day and hang out when they come home. And it's just another family you have.
What made you decide to be a BPCC cheerleader, though? I mean, you said the scholarship, but was that all? I mean, or was there something in particular that a major here that was offered, and you said, "Wow, I can." It gives me the opportunity to do both. I'm a nursing major, and BPCC has a great nursing program, so it was a great opportunity to just be able to do both and support the local school. Well, now let's turn our attention to the World University Championships at Disney World. This is a nationally televised event featuring cheerleaders from colleges and universities all across the country. Tell us, Rachel, where a 2-year school like Bossier Parish Community College fits into this big national picture at such a huge stage.
Okay, so whenever you do UCA Nationals, there's actually 2 different ways that you can compete. You can go in and compete in game day competition, which is what we decided to do, or you can do the 2.5-minute Nationals routine. In the game day, it's situational, so we don't know what order we're going to have to do our performance in. We get out there and they give us cues like we're at a game, and we have to do whatever the cue is telling us to do.
Okay, take us through that. I'm the PA announcer, and team comes out there. Now, is it relegated to schools that play football, basketball, or is it just whatever sports your school offers?
Okay, so they will cue you either basketball or football, depending on what your school has. We went with football for the pure fact that we were practicing that way, and the skills that you can perform on a football field are different from basketball. And so if we did basketball legal, we were limiting our skill level, where if we did football legal, we could do more. So we went with football cues. They would cue, let's hear it for the band, and that's our fight song. Let's hear it for there's a timeout on the field, and when there's a timeout on the field, they just play a band song. And then we have an offense or defensive chant ready for either the team just got the ball or
a first down or a touchdown or something like that.
So they cue us that way over the speaker, and then we just have to go straight into it.
For you, well, coming from Bird, I understand, you cheered for the Jackets and in football, but for not just you, but for the rest of the team, did that take a little bit of getting used to because, well, we don't have football here, and you're right in the middle of basketball season?
It did take some time to get used to. Everybody had to get used to the certain things that would be said, and we just had to make sure we were listening and paying attention to what they said.
So the team, so you have no idea what you're coming out to. I mean, they can throw a wrench at you and be a turnover and go to defense right away or something.
You have 3 things prepared, or you have 4 things prepared, and you don't know which 3 are going to be called. And so you have those prepared, and a coach is on the side ready to play whichever music is cued. So.
Okay, is there a time frame that you have to fit those routines in?
Yes, we have 3 minutes.
Is it 3 minutes total. Or 3 minute? Oh, okay.
Total,
right.
And if you go over, it's a big deduction. So you do not want to go over.
Well, your team placed 3rd in the University Cup, and I want to get this right, University World Cup Co-ed Game Day Cheerleading Championship. So break that down a little bit. I know you already have, but put it into layman's terms for those of us like myself that aren't in the cheerleading world.
Okay, so when we went to nationals, we actually competed in 2 different competitions. On the first day, it was UCA, which is Universal Cheerleading Association. That is a United States-based competition. And then on Sunday, we competed in the World Cup, and that one is actually an international competition. So the one that we placed 3rd in, that was an international competition. There were teams from Canada, Puerto Rico, China, Ireland. So there were other places. So we actually got to represent the USA in that competition. So when they call us out, they're saying Bossier Parish Community College from Bossier City, USA. They don't even say your state. You're representing the United States.
Wow, so how big of a thrill was that for you?
It was crazy, and just seeing the other teams and people from all over, it was different.
I mean, I can't imagine how, you go from competing at a local, state, regional level, and now you're not only competing nationally on one day, then the next day you're competing internationally. I guess y'all are used to it, but for me, just hearing that, I mean, the scope of that, we're here in our little area of parochial neighborhood of Northwest Louisiana, and to compete on a national level, that's huge.
It is, and definitely eye-opening for all the students as well as the staff that got to go on the trip.
Well, let's take a look now at the BPCC Cheerleaders routine at the World University Cheerleading Championships. And as we go through this, I want each of you to come give us your thoughts and feelings as the routine is going on. So here y'all come out, and what is the first call that y'all get? Do you remember?
This is our band dance.
Okay.
And so this is what we would do at a timeout at a game.
And
so it's just a short, about 30 to 45 seconds routine to music.
And obviously, you have certain steps, Shelby, and certain cues kind of that you're working on. How hard is it, for you to, transfer that thought process into hitting those marks and cues?
You have to be quick on your feet. You just have to make sure you know what you're doing and your counts and everything, and just do what you've been practicing the whole time.
Now, who was the young lady that, Rachel, that was the one that was thrown up in the air just a minute ago?
That was Sabrina Ray, and she's actually a freshman. This is her first year on the team, and she's competed some in her life. She's also done dance. So.
And your male cheerleaders here, they also have to understand their cues and routines. Tell me a little bit about what their side of things are.
The guys are a little bit harder because most of them have never competed before or had to go through music routines. So we're working on counts and making sure they're hitting everything on time.
At this point, though, you've trained them, you've worked them, you've encouraged them, and now it's kind of like, parenting a child. You send them out and pray and hope that, they do their best. Is that kind of how it is?
It is. We get to stand up in the front on the side of them, so you're just sitting there cheering them on, yelling with them, hoping that everything hits and is on key.
And then, Shelby, you're focused on hitting those marks and relying on your training and practice to carry you through. And, like I said, that I can't imagine how quick that thought process, once you hear that command of just springing into action.
It's a lot, but we practiced it all different ways. Any way they could call, and we just knew we had to be quick on our feet.
Well, Rachel, continue if you would to take me through take us through some of the routine that's we're seeing here.
This one is the fight song, and interesting enough, we don't actually have a fight song, and so for the community colleges that don't have one, we choose another school's fight song to borrow, and we have to get the rights to the music and everything. But
okay, who'd you choose?
We chose Michigan State, and they warmed up on the mat after us. And performed 4 teams after us. So that was interesting, but they were so supportive when I walked over and told them, hey, we don't have a fight song and we chose y'all, and they were glowing, and they were like, well, that's the best one you could choose. So I was so glad that they weren't upset that we were using their song, and they were actually supportive.
Well, that's, as a college football guy, that it's a little surprising because most high school bands and folks, they choose either the Notre Dame Victory March or the Michigan fight song and Hail to the Victors. So choosing Michigan State, that was a little bit of a surprise as well. Okay, now the routine ends. What is your first thought?
When I come off the floor, I'm thinking, did everything hit? How did we look? I'm just I'm happy. I'm like asking everybody, how'd you do? How'd y'all think we did? And your adrenaline's still pumping.
And your first thoughts?
My first thought is this year was, oh, they did great. They did as well as I wanted them to do. That could have been a little bit better, or this could have had a little more energy. Just a little bit, little things here and there. But we rushed to the back because we get to watch ourselves on the TV screen afterwards. Well,
and was there anything that you knew right away that the judges may be a little bit critical of that?
On our first day of competition, we actually had a little stunt fall, and so we knew we were going to get a little deduction there, but it was nothing major. They recovered well from the fall, and then on our second day of competition, that hit solid. So I didn't see anything on the second day of competition.
Okay, we only have a couple of minutes left. 2 things. How long did you have to wait to find out? And when you did find out, what does this mean, placing third, do for Bossier Parish Community College?
On the world competition on placing third, we were last to compete. We were the last ones on the mat, so it was about an hour to find out what we got placed. And we're just looking forward to the future and promoting the school and getting to go back. And next year, we're going to take our dancers and hopefully Captain Cav, and he wants to compete in the mascot competition.
Wow. Well, I think I can speak for everyone associated with BPCC and just say how extremely proud and excited we are for BPCC Cheer. And anytime an individual or a group such as BPCC Cheer gets recognized, not now on a national stage, but on an international stage, it's a big deal. So kudos to you as a coach and to you as a participant. And pretty soon you'll be looking for a new crop of cheerleaders as well as dance line members. Really quick, we only got a couple of seconds left. Tell us about the tryouts that you have coming up in May.
We have tryouts in May, the 10th through the 12th, which is Mother's Day weekend. So anybody who knows a senior who can dance or cheer, send them our way.
Well, I appreciate it. That's all we have for today. Rachel, Shelby, thanks for visiting with us. and good luck as you continue with the rest of the basketball season. And such an exciting way to start the 2019 spring semester. I look forward to seeing y'all at more of our home basketball games. And folks, thank you for watching Cavletics today. Join us again next Friday as we bring you the latest on Bossier Parish Community College Cavalier Athletics. I'm Charlie Cavell, bidding you a good sports day.